대인이나 산지가 다리 다 당선 컨트롤 스타트 이나 다리 당보 당만 그 주와다 특징 그 주 담아다리 특징은 그 영상 담들을 걸나 다리 인포르탄한 게 준도는 상황이 발라서 같아서.
So we can date that historically to around 500 years BCE. But these texts don't appear. We have no record of any of them until many, many centuries later. And most scholars now think of those Mahayana sutras So first, I'd just like to say what an honor and pleasure it is for Georgetown University to welcome Ken Rinpoche for this discussion about Buddhism, the study of Buddhism and the spread of Buddhism in the West. And I'm full of admiration for all of his work in the Larangar Academy and hope that this can be the beginning of a fruitful connection between Georgetown University and Larangar. I'd like to ask one question about the spread of Buddhism in the West, and one question about the academic study of Buddhism, and then if there's time, one question specific to the study of Tibetan Buddhism. So yesterday in the evening, Rinpoche spoke about Buddhism in terms of the Tibetan code of happiness. And these days in the West, there are many things that offer happiness to people. They can do a yoga class, or they can meet with someone, a psychotherapist, or there are even pills, anti-depression pills they can take to be happy. And sometimes I have a concern that when Buddhism spreads to the West and is taught as a method for gaining happiness, that it can lead to confusion about the actual goal of the Dharma. That rather than understanding Dharma as being for Buddhahood and the end to suffering of all beings, it can come to be seen as yet another method for quickly attaining one's own happiness. And I wanted to raise that concern for Rinpoche.
Tati ndana shuna din chopai nandraga dhyanaga nandraga osaga poyin rzina chamala chuto tan retne ti tawi toba chi yogo mare yana ta chi tangsang sacha dela thoma tare nambaga chuzu jito chi kangar se shu ka tap chi tari che ka song jino rro yin nandra man yin nandraga mane tare ti mo lakchan rar sam thong go yore dan to le tambo wa gare tane ramji ta nga chu chu go ngse na zo tari nyamlen shi ji dan tane tari lojong shi jo te kar che ga kate nyamlong yo pozu da lojong yo pozu da shi tamna tane chu go nang don da ha chang tang za pa da ya che wa da na te jin do na chi tari ga production ba zin do ramji tari korong ko i chero re da te ko i chero di da tane tari chun de yon ji ne kep ko ti kan chama za ga zgam chana de yang tari ga ser thore da ngma tari chu de ji chen de dang che shi ma tane tari ga mao wa na ji tara dang tham chim kim ba ni mo tham chi da ramji ya ran ro thop ni da 즉 산지가 공방단을 기여시마서 기도 당상 다리는 쇼가다 지상깔라 할 레치가 참 통보즈래 되는 송거이나 다 당상 참 마사즈 그 생각은 막도 되면 참 통보즈가 제 포고요 말에 다 옛날에 로종도 임보 시대 무슨 야넉조이나 게 다가야나 다 발치르 다리 로니시랑 와다리 그런 소 롭트시래 도마 다리 그런 소지 몸선는데서 단 즉 디모즈 간장인데 다 가선 때는 있는 엄마 지금 샘노는 없산바이나 지금 잔나 판바대요 지금 반반 인세와자 마연바가 지금 산지 고몽 토야다나 되네 지금 런거 있나라나 지금 손는 시기도 여러 지금 야체산으로서 름지로 다 데라 기름 하장 람보지요나 다리가 때 접지래 막도 되면 지금 기름 통통서 다 탕탕오네 그러면 맞서 야일게나 지금 통마가 다 왕스크리아도 지금 고르모 토야다나 대전도 다 무기 몽스가 쓰고 이제 납축바 되다나라예다 다 된자 요나야 다리 름지 때 로종 역 보도 시에서나 다네 다리 때 강할 때서 세트고 요래서
So maybe then to shift from the popularizing of Buddhism and teaching of Buddhism more broadly, to the academic study of Buddhism. So for example, I teach a course here called the Introduction to Buddhism, and we present a survey of the history of Buddhism and the foundations of Buddhist thought. And my course is probably similar to the way it's taught in most American universities, where we teach the students that there's a foundational period of the development of Buddhist traditions that is closely, probably closest representation of that is in the Pali Tripitaka. And at a later time, we had the development of the Mahayana Sutra tradition. And then even later than that, we have the first appearances of Tantra in India. And that historical way of understanding the development of Buddhist literature and practice through these different stages is really central to the way that we teach and think about Buddhism. But I know in a traditional context, it's understood that all of these three vehicles were taught at the same time. And I wonder if Rinpoche has any thoughts about how a modern scholar of Buddhism who takes account of what we know about the development of texts and the appearance of different kinds of Buddhist texts over time, how they can find a way to understand that in harmony with the Buddhist tradition's understanding of all of these texts as authentic teachings of the Buddha.
partir tate ngarasu nachu kandang kan na shirna tare ji ngidong ge ji gangzak maksong da na darshan nam na nang song ase jin ra timo yo re da nang song ayen na tir ji gna nang song ji de ta ji de yin se ge yo ma re shirna sanji chondon de ge tare chungkur rambab jin de kor no to darsha thmo wa ga nang wa ra song re thmo wa ga nang wa ra song ji de ngacha ge thmo wa ga lor ji da ta ne sha go na re thmo mayen ba song ji gon je da to tare ngacha ga mo da na de mo tham ji de thmo mayen ba la song ge yo ma re de yin na sanji ge tare ta tang sang gon rol ta de yin na tare tang bo thangman ge chu war da thak chen ge chu thama tare ge thak chen ge na ge yang sang ge dam re khwer na tare ding khor da na de jin de na sang di ba la so ba de song de ne yang ji thmo mayen ba ge ne na 또 상황을 그냥 지금 라나메 바가 jut다디 뭐 송요래 또 제가 있나 어차피 워크 있나 여러분들 지내나 그러나 잡지 던전은 뭐 제가 전에 달에 던전 충정을 되잖아 다 당보 달이가 산디가 잡밥 정리근 거기는 말았어 전에 연중 정리가 말았어 전에 달이가 야거 그 여도 추치르 다스르 전에 럼바전도 워크 여도 상황 다스르다 워크 양서 상황 까마다는 냐마 테르마들이 nge tar dunjor mbochi ga te boyigi yoki ta janak ka ta chi giriyo ne ta nge te samne na tangsang dari boyik na to ina ra ga shikip ko jagar ga na to ina ra ga choma ga tangsang ga ma tham chi ga khelen go na dari ga dunjor mbochi ga chimjong ro ma ra jong na tene dari logi na ra ga khatsama da ya ha za da ra chu to ko yo jere sam ga te ni na dari ga sanji ga darsha nam la na jo won do mo cha kan ro mi won do chena ramji zon ma to zem na 틱치가 다리 나죠 말에 틱치가 송주가 돼요 공바 카카다네 연제슈 약동 카카요 그래 당보 나hnan데 치료인데 뉴레 즈지던 코난 베치 겨려온데다 이나 카페 그바래 데 나나미 나나 나가 야이근데 겨르잖아 당선 몸보근 돈 탑고만도 되는 게 파르처 로르 간르스 그러는데 다 야미 에카도 게데다는데 티 워중고 다리 티 파르칸상가 다르코 파르그 요래 तेना तारिगा ताज खा साबोनज गियो योरे तांसंग लोरजी गिरगिरी दा तिनाना गारे गारे दन शिलो लोसक छका जोखसिसाना लोसक छका जेता न खुंगु सोंजुंग मारे तांसंग त छकारा लोसक मेनेना तने तारिगा नजक कमंदवा
Maybe to follow on that a little, so if we leave aside the esoteric tradition, even just looking at the Mahayana Sutra tradition, for example, so in many of the Mahayana Sutras, for example, it will say Shakyamuni was residing at Vulture Peak or some other location, and these people were present, and he gave this teaching. And the text is presented as a teaching of Shakyamuni Buddha, so we can date that historically to around 500 years BCE. But these texts don't appear, we have no record of any of them until many, many centuries later. And So most scholars now think that those Mahayana sutras were written by someone much later, around the 1st century BC or to the 1st century CE, in that period of time. And there have been very thorough studies, for example, of the Perfection of Wisdom sutras in different lengths to determine which ones were earlier and later. So with some precision, we can actually say when these texts first appeared. And that's different from what's said in the text, that it was taught by Shakyamuni at that place many centuries earlier than that. So even on that exoteric level, I wonder, how do we solve that contradiction?
Nangchuga logic nana sarvo sonyore te when sanji jondunde tambone ta tangsang thamwa ga wandu shena loni tonga ger ngap chinga chugdun zu teran sonyore to tari ge yengyo de shirna tela gombam thamam thombo yore the sanji jondunde se gyo mare sanji jondunde mayen ba when ishi na daga janak ka tari khonze na daga te son samala ya tari logic ga tatsar dana jotsur ko tiroyana ramandra koron so mombo yoga yore kanaya na te yore te yenre da yeneya tari sanji jondonde go son sardi de di nerkamna tari ga taji 이게 파야 메제요래 tene jima dari kabda tawa da kabda ni pa kabda sambaji kirodan de dari 이게 파야래 da tena ndrk toba tischigna segida ndrk toba tischigna segida di nerkamna dari ga jig nima jig dana dawa jig da che jig de ze sarka yo mare to sarka meki otena jig tachin ge sonina tischigna segida semchin mombo nansar moz yore zende da to dansang ma tamche ge kelen yo mare to ke malangi janjena ngachegi shirtung glorgi narana da parchir dari sanji yopi nerkamna ti tangching ni mo sonre ze dansang ma tamche ge 페나다리가 장랑금 쾌바가 머스이 나라는 그 로지가 나나이나 다그 당칭 덕송을 이제 때 잠즈 요는 잠즈가 때 저기 요래 때 치레제니나 다또 그 송는 요는 띠 송는 어디 쳤다 아준데 인게도 산지가 지마다리 쿵고 송 제가 이게 도와줘 제이다나 데마르시아 요래 데마르시아 때 접점 받다는 소마 담적 이게 당하게브래 대인이 키론디 다리 쿵고 떡송 요노도 다 당상다리가 데 르바가 샤데 키레오나라는 디 대황다리 녀네나 탑고요래 데니나 녜스나로타나 지 티나 로츠다 다스 잠즈 티르 모즈 자가 손 마레 라라로 다리가 덤갸즈나다 로 섬갸즈나다 다 파르치르 다리 산지 데네다나 다 지마다리 갑드름 박섬드름 바름 바지네다나 트리시에레 데니나 지 로단 다와가 티츠 서로즈 송 메지잔즈 옛나라나 또 로지가 타나 된 자와가 좀 하장 mambo 요너라 회나다리가 네 이시 줄그 다리가 디 춘저진 장나라나 다다완다다나 첸데즈 송요 마르다나 이나야 코로 저거 또 냠슬랑에다나 또 차든 그 담줄러 다린 장가요래 네 공거이나 영화도 베그 출러 심지 다나더니 로정 쉬어래 다른 porque 다나 다리 저저던 앞에 가보쇼 되나 다치그 베르그 춘더 지 로정 쉬어다 냠스 내야 가성의 기근 아이얼 뜻자와도 거는 되네 공연 들어왔대 뜻자와 고치그 점선실에서는 송 보바가 시험바 몸보서 당상 베그 추다는 베그 정네도 베실 전부요 말했었는데 말은 놀고요래 나타나니 지 시험바 모어서 그는 측이 나라 코로나 냠용도 코로나 지마 정고 상고요 근데 제가 베그 추인데 로종 시티가 무일 가세게 근데 로종다는 때 냠내시요나 계란라 떡은 소화가 쳤다나 판바 가세요
So, objectively speaking, I think there are as many different motivations for studying Tibetan Buddhism as there are different people who study Tibetan Buddhism. But within those, if we generalize a little, I think there are some people who, at least initially, were drawn to the practice of Tibetan Buddhism through an encounter with one of the many teachers who have now taught in different places in the West. And through their interest in the practice of Tibetan Buddhism, they then found themselves drawn into further study, perhaps to learn the language better or to develop a more sophisticated understanding of the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. So one of the main initial starting points for many people is from their own practice, their own interest in the practice. And I would say a second general area of motivation for many people is the sense that Tibet has a very rich and valuable cultural tradition, and through the dramatic changes in Tibetan culture in the 20th century, some of those traditions are endangered, and there's a wish to aid in the preservation of that culture as it undergoes all of these very, very dramatic changes of more recent history. So some people, I think, are motivated by a sense of participating in an attempt to help preserve some of these things before they're lost. And then perhaps a third and final area, if we generalize, of motivations, there are some people who are very, very intelligent, and they're mostly motivated by finding a field of study that will not be easily exhausted, that they won't become bored from. And so many other subjects that we study, hundreds or thousands of people have already written about those things. If you want to study Shakespeare, there are a dozen books about every play that Shakespeare wrote already. But when we look at Tibetan literature, there are thousands and thousands of texts that have never been translated, that people outside of Tibet have never studied. So it's seems this vast treasury of material to study. And the subject matter itself, just as it is vast, it is also deep and profound. So that people who are drawn to that field of study find an inexhaustible field that they could explore at least for one academic career, if not many, many lifetimes, without even feeling that they've gone very deep. So many people are drawn by that as well. And then personally, from my own side, I was very fortunate that my mother's older brother, my uncle, was someone who became a student of the Sorma Trungpa here in the United States, and had a very close relationship with him. And when I was a child, I would hear stories about my uncle and his guru, and this was very different from anything else in my world. And I became really fascinated by those stories, and always imagined what this person must be like. And when I became older, I started to read some books that the students of Trungpa Rinpoche had published from his teachings. And everything that I read, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, this makes more sense to me than anything else that I read. And I want to learn more about all of these things. And when I was a college student, I had a period in my life when I was very confused about what I wanted to study, what interested me. And I was, again, very fortunate to participate in a study abroad program, a semester devoted to Tibetan studies. And I traveled and I lived with a Tibetan family in India, and started to learn to speak Tibetan, and began to really study Tibetan culture. And from that point, what had been a curiosity that I had almost caught fire, and I was completely consumed with a wish to learn more and more. Again, I glimpsed the vastness, really, of the Tibetan Buddhist tradition and Tibetan culture as a whole. And that was what motivated me. Really, I wanted to study the language, to be able to learn more and read text and speak with teachers. And that was my motivation more than the pursuit of an academic career. It was a means to be able to learn more. And then I found myself, after a number of years, qualified. My professional qualifications were to teach Buddhism to university students, or to wash dishes in a restaurant, and I really didn't have any other qualifications. So of those two, this seemed much better for a livelihood.
다第次通道人的呢，被关真切上，等于这外几嘛的起来的呢。다 체 나추 로종 연구인데 네 상로 다나 나추 로종 시기도 다 당상 잠mol은 거 나추 모 로종 시고 저다 양 무게는 다도 먼저 보여래 나추 산이 빠져 로종 시나 오늘 지금 제가 납시 켈렌게 제가 남아도 심한도 켈렌게도 같이 오래 제가 남아 제가 쉬었다 요지도 켈렌지다 또 켈렌버십하나 쉬나 짐슨 모든 거다 초랑가이나 나추 로종심 컨즈 인비 차가네 제가 쉬 켈렌제래 제가 쉬 켈렌나 저 다리 롭자 길근치 모즈고 데라 짐슨 메데 켈렌지 마르 짐슨 쳐서 요지래.
So this is a very interesting question. I think there, in a way, there are two different questions within this that it's important to distinguish. One is how I present reincarnation and teach reincarnation in the classroom to students, and the other is what my own belief about reincarnation might be or might not be. And I think this is one area where teaching Buddhism in an academic setting is different from teaching Buddhism in a traditional setting, is that I'm not teaching my beliefs to the students. I try to present the tradition in as accurate and complete, thorough manner as possible, but not as a representation of my own beliefs, but in what we find in the texts and practices of the traditions that we study. So it's important, I think, to distinguish those two. So in terms of teaching in the classroom, there I try to explain to the students that it doesn't matter if they believe in reincarnation or do not believe in reincarnation. That is irrelevant to what we do in the classroom. However, in order to understand Buddhist traditions, it's necessary to be able to imagine a world in which reincarnation is true, in which that is a fact. And so one way that I try to help students who have difficulty imagining such a world is to point out the uncertain foundations of their own beliefs about the world around them, and how every day we all accept things that we don't fully understand. For example, students use mobile phones all the time, and they don't really know the science of how that works. They couldn't open it up and take it apart and put it together again, and they probably could not explain with any precision exactly what happens when they dial their friend's number and call someone. They don't really know how that works, but they use it all the time, and they don't have doubts about that. And I try to explain that for many Buddhists historically throughout the world, they might not know every detail about the Abhidharma theory of exactly how reincarnation works. They may not have great certainty about that, but it's without any problem, they accept that as a fact of their existence and of the world around them. So I try to use different ways of having students reflect on their own assumptions to understand that in Buddhist cultures and traditions, the acceptance of reincarnation is not the same necessarily as the scholastic or scientific proof of reincarnation. And for most Buddhists throughout history, the acceptance of reincarnation is much more important in a pragmatic day-to-day sense than the theories of it in that way.
This couple you're marrying, Jim Jumbo,
It's so hard to scientifically prove reincarnation. I have a lot of scientific evidence because I've done a lot of research.
So from my side in the belief in reincarnation, and here Khenpo Rinpoche can correct my very shallow understanding of Buddhism, but I always think that the belief that reincarnation is true is a conventional truth and not an ultimate truth, and that all of these lives and birth and rebirth and death is all kind of illusory play in some ways. And so the decision to choose to believe in reincarnation has a pragmatic point, is that it creates the foundation for decisions about conduct, and that the key point for me is the belief that consequences have actions. And that has to be grounded in that idea. And so whether or not there's scientific proof or not, and I know Khenpo Rinpoche feels strongly about the scientific evidence, but for me what's more important is, does the belief in reincarnation lead to more compassionate conduct and less suffering for beings? And if yes, then I accept that belief on the conventional level. And that's my sense of that. So Khenpo Rinpoche, after 20 years since your last visit to Washington, D.C., I wonder what are your impressions visiting Washington this time and meeting with some of the professors and students at George Washington University and Georgetown University?
다 nga dana mapemne lo nishida yere tani ta sachende tone khasa tani hasent slota ta tani teranga tani slota de ni ge shirur ge kopai na da nang ge girgan so dam nyam de drola yabo yonji de nga rang so nang go wand shina pe gaboshon chi jinsen kare tena chig de ta de ngaso American rezin na te lotra mombo na na pöjü na tong ge chul de lojon shia da na nyamsle ya da pe mombo de te nga rango ne na pe galeshon tene nisi ta ge na ngaso tangrap ko chan ge hajam phejin ro yo pe ne kamna tene namba sanji ba ge chu da na ni kan de 판슨 다 냠뇨 지야다나 슬로존 시야다 카르침보레 데나 나랑근고네나 게르금몽볼라 tani jantra shongwe dana khona bim dangge tani shisha mamboz de kowa kostok sarba kieson tani nga tari hajang semcho gawo shong.
So, Khenpo Rinpoche, if you were a student here at Georgetown University, what kinds of classes would you be interested in taking? What field of study might you major in?
Ngarang ge nata karende nzanda kang demna rezra. 또 ngarang 다 churnatari chongchong인데 당보다리 때 롬정가 야라 지금 저때나 되는 가 girgeng 거 레네던 담래 나 ngamaina girgeng 다리 girgeng 남래 단들이 나라나 조 다리가 지금 마옹 네금나 다리 girgeng 임바가 다리 레네다나 되네 다리 girgeng 있는 능나야 단단나 지 출력 담제라 요나다나 teni tarik nroa mi rik chik tansik rik baga chik mi rikla shirna rang soso yana kepan mambo yore tani yana chik nroa mi shirla sem ka kamla pamba yo naga dimo ka tarik ta dekhar yo nena ngara yana ta ten dam jire.
I know, Khenpo Rinpoche, that you also visited many of the most prestigious universities in China and spoke at those different universities. And I wonder, in what ways it seems that there are similar concerns in the present day. As you say, the world is becoming more and more connected. And what similarities do you see between the American universities you've been able to visit and those Chinese universities? And what differences are there between those places?
Tanga tira rozina tani janak shuknen parchewa loptra mombozga sonya tena janak shukr loptra tsog panseng ge ji sanlong chirtong rozina shida loptra rang girgeng ge sanlo dana tani loptra ge namba ge sanlo ramra mombo yore ta ina ji chabur chimbo yosa mare tani 다 너쇼고 플로트란 저나 다 다리 탕탕원 저래 tani 카상네 때는 그 바도 지다 너쇼고 근데 신나 못도 속에 상로도 nga마요 dana 때 다와 섬레르머는 디 디스 고고요래다 옛나야 다 플로트라는 그 시험 바 속고 다리 상로다나 카르쇼고 상로니가 안자만자 침부도 요노 네 다스타에나 고고문도 옛나야 제산의 상로도나 다 다르고 지금 나춘도 참마가 다리 샤슈고 난자 너슈고 난자 때니 참마가 셈라지 판바요 바즈도 또 연결에 또 인노도 다리 로마에 난자 기르게 난자 mambo즈 그때 돈도 니게요 그래 또 인난 알아서 지금 냠도 마오와 판서 로존시나 때니 고아 서바 다리 제용جو 이체요거든
So many of my students here, they don't specialize in Buddhist studies as their primary field of study. So very few will go on to really study Buddhism at a more advanced level. But many of them feel that studying Buddhism will help them in whatever area they pursue, law or politics or business or any other science, academic study. And I wonder, Khenpo Rinpoche, from your perspective, what do you think studying Buddhism might offer students who won't practice Buddhism necessarily and won't pursue it further, but in other areas of their life, in their endeavors?
Tangi tina ndare ti ngason lotra chimbo de pe matse gan choksam parasran choksam go ngasa chimbo ga thyore tani lotra chimbo go nang loksu de ta matse gan chowa ga joram go chotana sikchin chimbo den ro yore den ro yode namba nachu gan zanja te karte yona 딱 그런서 때 남발아 지금지 그 개바즈 돈다 말해 삼가 네 때나 나추도 있나 차르그다 나추도 락수 배나 나추는 거 잔라 판바 시기 생활 개발인지단데 소도 지 출력 남바즈 말인데 뭐 멀거 다리가 야럽거 다리 락수 그 난동이래 다 된자인데 때니 그런서 추바가 소난자 추바가 마소난자 렌팅 강당 강가나 옛날하나 다 추라 지 장등 걸고는 따츠리요 빠즈도 같이 간다 당선 가리소이나 납숙나 야요레 샤숙나 야요나레 그런서 추제 마시나나 초각박 돈도요 된자 뭐요레 다 된자 멤버즈다 가테 추바 있나야 추바 있나야 추바 쳤다 정도 좀 몇이 더야 뭐요레다 다 대야 마인 바가 추바 있나 추바 접시자 추바 마인 바야 내릭 장도나 ngurgur 머시나 띠차강에 때나 तारे nga janak khlotra mombola sonde janak khlotra na na chik sangtang ganzanda na dekha na timo mombo khsardun zukyo re nge pe kharazo ta ta karchimbo reze chirizena kharazo chongchong onde ga gergang ga tangsang janak ge tare nchok ge tare loma choyina khorang ga lapa ga na gergang 다 스타바치 나 또마토 제마나 코랑 사라치 연 말에 근데 기르근 거 다리 스타바도 출르라 장된 거 다리가 예저즈 요지 잔제나 또 딤마체가 타바가 송어래 또 되는 게 하전 가르쳐 버려 삼고요